in Woolpit, an ancient village in Suffolk, England. Sometime during the 12th century, a group of villagers came across two young children with green skin. Apparently speaking gibberish and acting nervously. A boy and a girl appeared out of nowhere in the middle of the harvest at the end of the field. They took the villagers by surprise. Not only were their parents absent, but their skin was also unusually green. In fact, they didn't seem human at all. Those two strangers were taken to the nearby home of Sir Richard de Calne, who did his best to care for them despite their language barrier. The children found refuge from wandering the wilderness, but there was another problem. Sir Richard de Calne offered them food, but they persistently refused to eat. This continued for some days until the children came across some green beans in Richard's garden, which they ate straight out of the ground. Over time, Sir Richard managed to adapt Green Children to a normal diet. Interestingly, after some time, after eating normal food, the children lost their green skin color and gained the appearance of normal human beings. It was decided to baptize the children, but the boy, who appeared to be the younger of the two, was sickly and died soon after baptism. Not long after the surviving girl learned to speak English, she told a strange story about how these two children happened to be in the field that day when the villagers found them. She explained that they came from a land where the sun never shone, and the light was like twilight. The girl named their home Saint Martin, where everything was green, but she still couldn't explain their arrival. We don't know how we got here. We only remember this, that one day, when we were feeding our father's flock in the field, we heard a piercing sound, such as we are used to hearing at St. Edmund's when the bells are ringing. And while we listened in amazement to the sound, we were suddenly carried away, as it were, and found ourselves among you in the fields where you were harvesting. The girl was employed as a servant in the household of Richard de Calne for many years. And eventually married a man from the town of King's Lynn. Based on his research into the family history of Richard de Calne, astronomer and author Duncan Lunan concluded that the girl was named Agnes and married a royal official named Richard Barr. The oldest reports of this story are contained in William of Newburgh's Historia Rerum Anglicarum and Ralph of Coggeshall's Chronicum Anglicanum, written in about 1189 and 1220, respectively. Between then and their rediscovery in the mid-19th century, the story of the Green Children seems to surface only in passing. There are many theories as to who these children were. It is easiest for many to conclude that the children were actually of extraterrestrial origin because of their green skin. But this case has also been studied by academics. Professor Paul Harris focuses on the possibility that the children were Flemish immigrants who were taken away from their parents. Since the Flemish community was reportedly living in the area at the time, this is highly believable. The kids were only speaking in their native Flemish language, which is why nobody could understand them. The green tint to their skin could have been a result of poor nutrition and malnutrition, which would make sense why their skin turned back to normal once their diet improved. Historian Derek Brewer's explanation is even more practical. The likely core of the matter is that these very small children, herding or following flocks, strayed from their village and, in modern terms, did not know their home address. They were probably suffering from chlorosis, also known as hypochromic anemia. It's a result of a very poor diet that affects the red blood cells. The disease that gives the skin to have a greenish tint. With a better diet, it disappears. Theories have their explanations, but are they correct? We may never know